So, may I request you to say a few words about FOSSEE and your vision about FOSSEE as we go ahead before we ask the other faculty members to felicitate the uh, other awardees.
Good afternoon. So FOSSEE stands for Free and Open Source Software for Education. I don't know whether any of you wondered why there are two E's. Has anybody wondered? Free and Open Source Software for Education, right? Why there are two E's? What do you think? No. Yeah. In fact, that is correct. When we wrote the proposal to MHRD, it was called MHRD at the time, they said have focus. So it became free and open source software for engineering education. So double E's, and that's how this logo was formed. After a while, they said, can you please take care of science also? The ministry was happy. So we said free and open source for software education for science and engineering. After a while, they said, these IIT fellows, they work only with science and engineering. Who will take care of other people? This is what the ministry said. So we said, okay, we'll drop everything and say for education, right? And it was too late to change the logo. Logo was already formed. It was known as F04SSEE. So we are staying with that. FOSSEE has done things somewhat different from other projects of NMEICT. Our funding agency is NMEICT, National Mission on Education through ICT. In fact, that's the one that has been funding this since 2009. And there are other projects like SWAYAM. It was called NPTEL, SWAYAM, SWAYAM Prabha, and virtual labs. Some of these projects have been there. The FOSSEE project is quite different in the sense that, from the type of content creator. In SWAYAM, for example, it will be an IIT professor or a few people from reputed universities. Whereas FOSSEE's content creation is through students. Through students of, I would say, all colleges, because if you look at Scilab Textbook Companion, about 1,000 colleges have participated. 1,000 students from as many colleges have participated, right? So that means 1,000 means we never accept 1,000 as the top, right? Top means we will, for whatever reason, we say only a few. So if people can contribute from 1,000 colleges, that means it's fantastic, right? That almost everybody, almost any college, they can contribute, provided they can contribute it in a way suitable for public. In other words, FOSSEE trains students to the level of contributors, which is different from getting somebody, a professor from an IIT, ask them to give a lecture in front of a camera, record the video, releasing it. So I would say what FOSSEE is doing is lot more difficult and broad-based. It is more inclusive, and that way it has been quite different from other projects. And this is something I always tell the ministry. I think the ministry kind of accepted that, likes it. So, because after all, this is after all Ministry of Human Resource Development. It is not just a few select institution development. I will give one example to give an indication of kind of projects done by students for FOSSEE. You all know about this spoken tutorial project. FOSSEE uses spoken tutorial as a way to train people quickly. Of course, spoken tutorial does it on many other topics, but FOSSEE's focuses on a few topics, few software, and on those topics, every one of them, spoken tutorial is available and they are used to train people. Spoken tutorial was started as a documentation project for open source software, but it became a training program. There is one other documentation project in FOSSEE. I'll just explain, just to give you an idea of how even a small thing can become something quite big and very useful. I wanted, at the time of start of this project, FOSSEE, we decided that we will, as opposed to developing lots of new software, because that's what generally IITs do. You get money, so I'll develop a new software. This is my expertise. I'll develop a new software. I'll release it as open source, for example. But IIT said in FOSSEE, we will not do that. We will support some of the outstanding open source software already available in the market. We will popularize it. We will tell people how to use it. We will make it easy to use. Making it easy to use is a difficult thing because in those days, when 2009 and so on, it was a lot more difficult because there were no communities. Internet was not so popular, prevalent, and things like that, right? So one of the shortcomings of FOSS or flaws, free stroke liber and open source software, is lack of documentation. Okay, so that means if you want to promote open source software, you need to create more documents, because of lack of documents, open source software is not moving. People are finding it difficult to use. But you need a lot of manpower to do that. We had lots of manpower in the form of students. So the question was, can I use the students to create documentation? What do you think? Do you think students create good documents? Do students even write comments on the code that they write? What do you think? So that was our experience. We needed actually really mature people. Mature people are required to write documents. Okay? Students don't mind writing code, but they get bored by the time they finish. They don't have the willpower or persistence to write the document. So students hate documents. We had students in plenty, right? And we need a lot of people to write documents. And the mature people are already gone to the IT sector. They were not available. So I said that let us solve the inverse problem. What is the inverse problem? Asking them to write code for existing documents. For existing document, right? What are documents for students? What do they use? Textbooks. So we said, let's go to textbooks. Okay? And a typical textbook has a lot of worked out examples. For every worked out example, let the student write a code. For example, Scilab. We said, let's work on Scilab. A person who's reasonably good in Scilab and who is a good student in a class, wherever that college may be, write the code for that example. You can verify, run every step and check whether the answer matches. Okay? So it's very easy. It's a low-hanging fruit. If that student does it for the whole book, okay, it becomes a Scilab textbook companion. Okay? So one can easily say, somebody says, I want to know how to do, fast Fourier transform. You open the book, go to the chapter that talks about fast Fourier transform, go to the example, and the example is worked out, and you look at the Scilab code, and Scilab code gives the way to call. It says how to make the call so as to get the answer in the book. And you can, in fact, you can use that book, you can use that Scilab code to modify. So the teacher can do what if. What will happen if I change the parameter? In this way, students created textbook companions for large number of books. In fact, 623 books, if I'm not mistaken. Almost every book in science and engineering by some 1,000 students across the country. Every one of you might have written, right? It's so easy. So every book is covered. If somebody says, my textbook is not included, we can always ask, will somebody in your class create the textbook companion? So we include that also, right? That way we did. So we created lots of examples with explanation on how to use the code. And I told the student, don't write any comment on the book, on the code. Let them open the book. Book is there. Let them open the book, and everything is, because there is a problem of this person copy pasting from the book and resulting in copyright violation. So I told them, don't. You're bad in writing comments. You're bad in documentation. You shall not write any comments. You shall write only code. Okay? And to understand the code, you have the book. So it became a textbook companion. This project is heavily supported by the government. Government was very happy. Of course, there were delays and so on. I'll just give an example to tell you what kind of support was there. I mean, we generally think of bureaucrats, how they do that. When I was working in MHRD, come March, towards the end of March, they have a tough time. They have to release all the money. Okay? They would call and say, please help. Please give this information. Those guys work day and night. Because unfortunately, ministry has money, but they don't have too many people. So they have to work very hard to do that. In one of the meetings, this was Project Approval Board meeting, I had proposed that for each textbook companion, we will charge 25,000 rupees. That's how I had budgeted. Out of the 25,000 rupees, 10,000 will go to the student who writes it, another 15,000 to support the FOSSEE staff members, right? And then somebody who will verify the code, who will write, who will maintain the website, so on and so forth. So during the Project Approval Board meeting, topmost board that decides. If they say yes, money will be released. So I had proposed so much money. We will create so many textbook companions. It will cost so much. So there was a professor from IIT Kanpur. He asked, okay, what is this? I explained. And it was approved. And during tea break, the secretary of MHRD came to me, Mrs. Vibha Puri Das. She was the secretary at that time. She is from sociology background. That means she probably didn't use software, open source software. She didn't use any of that, right? She came and told me, Professor Kannan, you are proposing to train students from across the country, bring them to the level of contributors, and make them create content that is going to be useful to the entire community. What a fantastic idea. The secretary told, right? So that's why I'm telling the government, the way I look at it is, normally if you look at the government, bureaucracy, we always think that, they're all bureaucrats. And of course, somebody said, no, we should call them administrators. The way I look at it is, there are some people who, for whatever reason, decided they would not support your project. So you don't have to waste your time. There are some people who will really support you. They have already committed. They know who you are, and so on. It's the remaining people, the majority, that you'll have to go convince them, and they are neutral. It's not that they have. If they are convinced, they will, give the money. That used to be my thought process at the time. So what I was going to say is this project has come to this level by our thought process, by participants across the country, and academicians in various colleges who really like this idea, and the government. That is why, in fact, in this very same building, there was a conference some time ago, and there was a person from Brazil. He asked me, how did you run this project with government money for 10 years? Okay. How is it possible? Because government unstable, right? Bureaucrats change, administrators change, mission directors change, secretaries change all the time. Governments, in fact, changed. But this project has gone on. Okay. So I would say it is because of the fundamentally strong nature on which this project has been built. This project has been established. Okay? I just wanted to give a flavor of the FOSSEE project. So you get an idea of what the thought process was, how we did things, and I believe that it is a method by which we can build pyramids of excellence, starting from spoken tutorial, ground level support, train lots of people. Then some of them will say, okay, what can I do next? Ask them to write textbook companion. So we have about 1,000 textbook companions. We have more than 1,000. Scilab, Python, Open Modelica, and a few R, for example, and few software like that. Then that and lab migration. Migrated labs from commercial software to open source software. That is the next level. That is, of course, done by faculty members. Then some of them will say, can I do something more? Then you say, case study project. And then, in fact, we even started doing things like research migration. There is an example published in a journal using a commercial software. Can you make the same thing available in an open source thing? And so people can compare it. So these are ways by which document is getting created. But these people go higher and higher. And then, of course, we have people who write the front end. OSDAG is there. We have Ground Up, one of the few software, that and eSIM are the two software packages that FOSSEE created. Most of the work is to support other things, but this. They write front end, for example, OpenForm doesn't have a GUI. Some people are writing front end. So that way, that's the next level. You see, these are all, the level keeps going up. And we have seen that people at any level, almost any level, get placed. They get better chance of getting jobs and so on. I see some other people here. They will watch for it. The benefit, I'll just mention this and then I'll close my talk. The benefit of this pyramid of excellence, as opposed to, because we think about excellence and talk about pyramid of excellence, I call this attainable pyramid of excellence. Why attainable? Because I don't have any limits at any layer. Any step is open. Any number of people can go, right? Any number of people can go. So it is attainable. Can you think of an unattainable pyramid of excellence? Anybody? Okay, some of you are scared, I think. You might even know that. IIT is an unattainable pyramid of excellence. You missed it, you're gone. That's it. Okay? So I call this attainable pyramid of excellence. Any number of seats are there. Okay? And then you keep doing better and better, and it is there for everybody to see. So everybody at a lower level will realize if only they had put in a little more effort, they could have gone to the next level. On seeing this, everybody will work harder, okay, so that they can go up. Okay. As a result, the entire pyramid gets lifted. Everybody says, I could have done a little more work, I could have gone to the next level. Then the whole pyramid gets lifted. I call it attainable pyramids of excellence. So I'm going to stop here, and I want to thank you for giving this opportunity, and I'll be around. Yeah.